one of the first things you learn about film music is that music is supposed to transmit the emotion of a film. But whose emotions? Most people have a rough understanding that film music can make the audience feel a certain way. We are familiar with Soaring Strings for The Kiss. A trumpet fanfare for the hero. But for right now, I'd like to talk about how film music reveals the emotions of the characters in the film. Without prose to tell us what's happening inside a character's head, music is arguably the most effective way to let us know what they're feeling. It could be a childish terror. It could be a gentle uncertainty.
May I ask what you thought of my friend, Robert Martin?
Well, dear, I imagined him a degree nearer gentility.
True. He's not so genteel as Mr. Knightley, but...
No, though not 1 in 100 men has gentlemen so plainly written across him as Mr. Knightley.
You could even contrast emotions. For example, contrasting firm piety with cynical pessimism. Now, these may seem like straightforward examples, but for a more complex example, let's look at The Great Escape. Throughout the film, Elmer Bernstein uses a short harmonic motif every time we cut to the fences that surround our main characters. It's just a few short chords, but in a film focused around ideas of imprisonment and escape, it's worth developing a specific sound for those overbearing, ever-present fences. In fact, we never fade into the fences without that theme playing. And we almost never play the theme without showcasing the fence. The exception? To show a certain character's emotion. Danny is the mole of the group of prisoners. He's the man who does the actual digging in the tiny 200-foot rat hole of an escape tunnel. And yet, as the plan nears completion, another prisoner catches Danny risking it all on a desperate fence hop.
Danny, where are you going? You'll get yourself shot. What's the matter with you?
I'm going out to that fence.
Danny, we're getting out through the tunnel. We're almost clear.
Please, Billy, let me alone. I can't go in that tunnel anymore. So I'm going out through the wire.
Although the script does explain Danny's motivations, it's the use of the theme that lets us understand what he's feeling.
Billy, since I was a boy, I hate and feared little rooms, closets, caves.
Danny, you dug 17 tunnels, over 17
because
tunnels.
I must get out. I hide the fear, and I dig.
You hear the music, and you can't help but think of being trapped. It's been programmed into you. Those chords are the fence. And for Danny, there's little to distinguish being trapped in a prison camp from being trapped in a tunnel.
Danny, they're moving through the tunnel now. They're getting out. Danny, when Warsaw fell, you escaped and came to England because you're a flyer. You came because you wanted to fly with us and fight the Germans. We can get out now. We can get back to England. Danny, if you don't go through that tunnel, everything you've done will have been for nothing. Nothing.
Now, for a different example of the importance of showing character emotion, let's go to one of the greatest scores of the 1960s, To Kill a Mockingbird. Everyone who has seen To Kill a Mockingbird remembers the scene that we're about to examine, the revelation at long last of Boo Radley. But we might forget that, especially for a child, at this point in the film, our main character would have every reason to be terrified of Boo. Scout has only ever seen Boo at a distance. She's heard horror stories and been frightened by his shadow. He's probably insane. He could be a murderer. He could be a monster.
See, he lives over there. Boo only comes out at night when you're asleep and it's pitch dark.
In a typical film, the revelation of Boo Radley would be met with fear. But this is no typical film. That's why it's so important, so crucial, that at this moment in the film, the music tells us what Scout is feeling.
Oh, there he is, Mr. Tate. He can tell you his name. Boo?
Miss Jean Louise, Mr. Arthur Radley. I believe he already knows you.
The film's story and the film's score work together to present a unified experience for the audience. It's a beautiful transition from uncertainty and fear to trust. I hope these examples will showcase the variety of ways that music can reveal character emotion. It's not as simple as playing in minor for sad moments and major for happy moments. Rather, there's a large grab bag of approaches to take when you want the audience to not only see what the character is doing, but understand what the character is feeling. Leave your comments and subscribe for more studies in film music.